And finally, the big one of the night, Wolfman 2025. Not to be confused with The Wolfman or The Wolfman. I realized the 2010 one doesn't have a space in it, and it's called The Wolfman. Yes, this is another horror remake from Universal and Blumhouse, another collaboration between them. You know, they just did Nosferatu, which is basically Dracula, and they did like 5 other Dracula movies in the last few years. And I guess they were like, "Oh, right, we own the Wolfman. We should probably do another The Wolfman." Originally, actually, recently on Patreon, me and Kaylee did the previous Wolfman remake from 2010. It's not great. It's not great. It's the original Wolfman, all right, just with bigger effects, and it's louder, and it's got a wrestling match at the end with the Wolfman and his dad. And spoiler, that's not the last time you'll see that in a Wolfman movie. This comes to you from Lee Winnell, who wrote and starred in Saw. Joey C, I believe we reviewed Saw a few months ago.
Boy, did we.
And then he did The Invisible Man, which is a movie I've still only seen 40 minutes of at a restaurant while it was on mute.
It was pretty good.
And I had it all spoiled for me. One day I'll go and watch the whole movie, but I just been hesitant because the whole thing was spoiled for me. But people really like The Invisible Man. Did anyone here see The Invisible Man from 2020?
Yep, very good.
Okay,
very
it was very good. So yeah, I was excited to see this based off how everyone really liked Invisible Man. I knew it was not going to be the original Wolfman, which is fine because the Wolfman did that. It kind of just told that story again, just slightly different. So I was excited to see a more fresh take because the Wolfman, the original like Universal thing, it's one of the monsters that's not like based off a book, so you do have a little bit more wiggle room to do what you want. Honestly, the best Wolfman remake is Wolf with Jack Nicholson from the 90s. That's a solid one. So yeah, this one is about a guy. His dad is declared dead in the woods. He grew up with his dad in the woods, where we're apparently all going to walk and talk about Goosebumps. He was declared dead. When they were younger, they hunted something in the woods. We get told through an opening text that there is a virus located in this one area of Oregon that'll give you the features of a wolf. So they're already building their own lore. There's no full moon, no silver, no wolfsbane, none of that. It's just a virus that alters your appearance and gives you wolf-like abilities. So he has to go clean this house out now that his dad's clear dead, and he's bringing his family along with him, his daughter and his wife. His wife, who I think is about to be one of the many people who ruins Fantastic Four, because she's the Silver Surfer. Looks just like him, right, guys? But I think of this, I'm actually looking at a Silver Surfer action figure right here, and I'm looking at this lady, and I'm like, nailed it. Perfect. Yeah, their truck gets attacked by a wolf man. He gets bit, and throughout the film, he slowly starts to turn into a wolf man. It's very tragic, like the original. Before we get into the movie, like our thoughts on it, Blumhouse Universal really fumbled this one marketing wise. Months like in October, they just revealed what one of the Wolfmen looked like in their Halloween Horror Nights maze. They had him walking around. Spoiler, he doesn't look as bad as this. Like, this is the theme park costume version. He does look a little bit better in the film. And then they, right before the movie came out, they just released the full transformation sequence, like on YouTube, which was bizarre to me. And it's not doing well critically or financially, which is sad because it's only $20 million to make. The last Wolfman remake was $100 million. So they played it safe this time, and it looks like it didn't pay off. Gil, what did you think of Wolfman?
I thought when it leaned into the horror elements, the suspense of there's a wolf man who can see me in the dark, but I can't see him. And he's absurdly close, but I still can't see him. Yeah. Those moments were creepy. But I also felt the horror elements got pretty repetitive. You'd see the same trick multiple times. One example being when you swoop around to go from the human's perspective to the wolfman's perspective, and you see what he sees and how he can't understand what you're saying. It's all garbled.
I like that.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought they did it a few times, but there was nothing new each time you saw it. It was kind of just like, here's the same thing again. So I thought some of that got repetitive. And then on the other side of it, the thematic elements and the drama, I felt like it was trying way too hard. And it was just too on the nose. Because the Wolfman thing, it's meant to be a metaphor for intergenerational trauma. But it's all spoken aloud several times, like him talking to his daughter. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I'm a little strict on you sometimes. My father was very hard on me, and I don't want to be like that, but sometimes I am like that. It's very spelled out. But when it leans into the horror, when it leans into the body horror especially, like the moments, anytime he's just staring blankly, I found that so creepy and uncomfortable. So it was a very 50-50, like mixed movie for me.
Yeah. Crystal, did you see this one? Great job. Joey C, how did you feel about Wolfman?
What a movie. I really enjoyed it. I am upset to say the first 20 minutes I was very upset because I spilled my slushie. I lifted it up by the lid.
Oh
so
my
I-
God, you just... Sorry, finish telling your story. You just gave me like a flashback to a problem I had with the theater,
No,
but keep going.
I lifted it up by the lid, and this fucking thing's bigger than me, and I spilled it all over my pants. So the lady next to me thought I peed grape juice. So I was a little upset about that. But when I got over that, I fell in love with how they shot it with like a warped lens and used like the blue tint to represent like the wolf vision. That was so fucking cool. And Gil, you mentioned like the loss and the grief and the trauma. I'm sure that was intentional. But while I'm watching it, I'm going, oh, I know a secret. This movie's about trauma. This movie's about trauma. And then I realized every person knew that. So I'm an idiot. But the physical manifestation of trauma with the Wolfman, Gil will make a whole video about it. The transformation, though, was really cool. What really tripped me out, Tony, you always mention how you hate like eyeballs being poked. When this guy like broke his fucking jaw open, I cringed. That was the scariest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Not
Oh
the
my
fingernails? I feel like
No,
that's
not
one
the
that got-
fingernails. The jaw got me, dude. It scared me.
But didn't you find it was kind of funny where it's doing the big transformation, where it's like zooming into each body part as it's changing, and then he's off camera and he stands up and it's like the big reveal of this is the final Wolfman state. And I'm like, doesn't look that different than he looked 5 minutes ago, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm like, you already showed it. Like, I don't
Well, I
know what
think
you were
he's-
trying to accomplish.
I think he's still like it's implied that he will keep changing because the dad looks
It's
completely
true.
different. I guess spoiler, the other Wolfman's his dad. Much like the previous remake, it's very obvious who the other Wolfman is. It like couldn't have been more obvious.
It was weird at the beginning of the movie, right before it starts with a flashback, right before it cuts to the present, it just zooms in on the dad's tattoo. And I'm like, they really want us to notice that tattoo.
Yeah, that was a problem. I guess it's more of a problem with this one because literally the last remake did that, and I just watched it again. But speaking of theater experiences, do I have like a prop here? Hold on.
Pause for prop.
Pause for prop. I'll just use like paper or something.
Man, Joey's got his little documentary notebook. I need more props for the next stream.
What is
Documentary.
this, a manual for my mic. Okay, that's fine.
Jesus, Tony.
I want to say 40 minutes. This fucking guy behind me struggled with a bag of candy.
It was
Joey
me.
and Gil, how many quiet scenes are there in this movie, especially in the first two acts?
Whole fucking thing.
Okay. All right, so let's see here. Like this part here. Okay, so they're walking and it's quiet. Just imagine this.
Was it like him being hesitant about opening the candy? Like he didn't want to open it all the way?
He struggled to open the bag.
This is also the
But
same
was he just
point.
like scared of being loud, I guess?
If he was, he would have fucking stopped or went outside and tried to open the bag. Instead, it'd be like, run to the house. They shut the door and everything gets quiet. And then he's like, oh, I'm hungry.
It can't be worse than the bag of pepperoni I brought into the theater. I mean, it had just
and
been not-
someone almost drove into me head on right before I went into the theater because they weren't paying attention to the arrows in the parking lot. So they were driving the wrong way, and I didn't see them because I was like, obviously, the arrows are so big, it will be hard to not see them. I could just turn and not expect to see a car driving into me. Sure enough, there was a car driving into me. And then I had
Tony,
to
how many times do I have to apologize? The arrows were small.
That's why I wear big glasses so I can see
the awkward thing was that I had to stand next to the guy who almost hit me in line. And like I looked really pissed, and he looked like nothing because he didn't even realize he did anything wrong. So yeah, I went in kind of like a bad mood for this movie. I did see it with a friend of mine, and we in 2010 saw the previous Wolfman remake together. I'm like, hey, there's another Wolfman remake. Let's do it again. I thought it was okay, and I feel like that is the most praise this movie is getting. People will be like, it's okay. The stuff we were talking about, the transformation stuff was great. Gil, I could have used more of it because that actually sold the tragedy. Like, he loves his family. He loves his daughter. And there is this thing that is making him a threat to them. And I love that every time you go to his point of view, they look less human. So he relates to them less. He can't understand them at all. I love that. The scene with the spider was incredible.
Ooh, baby.
Where like the whole time, like, oh, is the other werewolf trying to break in? What's going on here? And it's like, oh no, it's a spider crawling. His ears have gotten so good he could just focus in on it. But yeah, nothing else really worked for me. Again, the thing with his dad was very predictable. I did not predict that they were going to have a fucking wrestling match again, like the previous movie. Although, to be fair, unlike Anthony Hopkins, he doesn't like rip his shirt off like Hulk Hogan. That's a thing that happened in the last Wolfman movie. You know, Anthony Hopkins turns into a Wolfman and rips off his shirt like Hulk Hogan. And they literally body slam each other, and this wooden floor turns into a crash pad. It looks like a wrestling ring. Anyway, I didn't really get like what the dad Wolfman was like. I know he attacked them because he's just a Wolfman. He's trying to eat them, but it looks like he's trying to take his son out of there. Like, does he recognize that that's his? Because he's now a Wolfman and it has his scent. I wasn't really sure what was going on there.
I mean, there was that line about like how he was telling his daughter, like, I was supposed to protect you or whatever. So maybe the dad werewolf was like trying to get the son away from the family so he wouldn't hurt them, or what?
Or maybe
I don't
he's just
fucking
like,
know.
Or maybe he's like, I recognize that scent. That's mine. And now that it is a Wolfman, he's like, oh, I probably have a pack or something. I feel like that could have been cleared up. Also, like, why didn't he just like break into the house? I feel like it would have been really easy for that Wolfman to break into the house.
That bothered me. I mean, a couple things bothered me. One, that the Wolfman couldn't break into the house. Like, I did not believe that just the dad holding that front door would have stopped him. But second, if you're afraid the Wolfman's going to break in, the fact that the dad leaves his wife and daughter like 10 feet from the front door in the middle of the living room, surrounded by windows and thin walls, while he goes down to the basement, like, you have a basement, barricade down there.
Yeah. Does the Wolfman... No, they can come out during the day because the very first scene is during the day where there's a third Wolfman that we never learn what his backstory is. I assume it turned the dad.
I assume that's the hiker they mention in the opening text.
Oh,
that could be it.
Okay. Yeah, and apparently this virus is just located to this one forest in Oregon.
I felt like the opening text
gave... Yeah, apparently the Native Americans had an issue with it. And I guess it's just died down a little bit. But yeah, I thought he probably should have turned into a Wolfman a little bit earlier, maybe. And hunted the family a little bit more. I get everything it was trying to do. And the whole transformation sequence I thought was great. The whole, like, him turning was great. Losing his humanity, because that's kind of like, you know, the Wolfman. He's a nice guy. In every version, he's like a nice guy. Benicio del Toro played him like kind of a creep. But he's supposed to be a nice guy, and this thing is making him a monster against his will. That all worked, but yeah, overall... It's missing something. I don't know what it was missing. But like it needed something more. Maybe like another kill maybe like another person out there.
I think if they found a way, like you were saying before, you could have used more of the transformation. If
Yeah.
they found a way to draw that out more, I think because
Yeah.
that was some of the best stuff in the movie. But I
Yeah.
feel like it's gradual physically, but the mental side of it, it kind of felt like he can understand and communicate with his family until he can't. There wasn't
Yeah.
a lot of transition there. If they somehow drew that out more, and it's like we're in the house in close quarters with someone who's maybe turning into a monster, but he's still our dad somewhat. Like that was the good stuff in the movie. If they could have
Yeah.
found a way to draw that out more.
It had a very zombie movie vibe because they're guys turning, they're stuck in a house. It reminds me of that famous zombie movie, Hack the Living Dead. I wish I could add myself to this film on the outside. Here's my question. Would you have liked this more if it was its own werewolf thing and not a remake of Wolfman?
I don't think so, because I don't think I went in like I haven't seen every Wolfman movie, so I don't think I had high expectations for it anyhow.
Do you think
Yeah.
this Wolfman will meet Frankenstein?
I hope so. I'll
Yeah,
play
I think like
Abbott and you play Costello.
yeah, I don't think the dark. Well, it is funny that the Dark Universe brand is still alive. They're just using it for a theme park now.
For a theme park, yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there's any crossover between this and Invisible Man happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that might be the one problem. You hear Wolfman, you kind of have certain expectations. If it's just a werewolf movie and this was its own thing, I think people would have been more open to it. Would they have seen it? I don't know, because there was a movie that came out last month called Werewolves. I don't think it did very well, but also I think it might have been super low budget. Did anyone see that Werewolves from last month?
Nope.
With Frank Grillo? I hear mixed things. I either hear like the practical effects are awesome and it's action packed, and then I hear, yeah, that's fine, but the rest of the movie sucks. So I have to go back and check that out. Yeah, I think it's okay. Don't go. I mean, obviously you guys aren't going to the theaters. It's not doing super well. Wait for it to
Keep
hit
doing what you're
streaming.
doing.
Wait for it to hit streaming. Try not to think of it as a remake of the Wolfman. You'll enjoy it more. But yeah, that's all I got to say about it. Anyone else have anything to say about this?
I don't see it in theaters. Got it. Thanks.
I
Yes.
think that Robert Eggers' Werewolf coming out in 2026 Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
I bet that'll be better.
Whatever happened to Werewolf Wednesdays?
Oh, I just brought it back with Kaylee, and we make a joke in the beginning that last year I brought it back, and then I only did one, so I brought it back
It's
again
a once a year thing.
once a year apparently.
Werewolf.
We're gonna make it a thing. Let's do the howling, Crystal.
I love to.
Yeah. But yeah, that is it for us with the review section. I see one of our patrons in here, and he's got to put his mask on, or else he'll break
Who would
character.
that be?
Could it be? And also, there was another one in here. God Lothos, if you're still around, come back in. Lucha Steve, what's
Hello,
up?
everybody.
Ooh. Hey, Lucha.
Hey, Crystal.
What movies on the list did you watch?
Wolfman.
Oh, what did you think of Wolfman?
So can I actually tell my story about Wolfman? Oh, I'll try to make it quick.
Can you tell the story while walking and talking?
In
the woods?
No.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Well, I'll settle for this. What's your
yeah.
story?
Okay. So occasionally, and it seems to be like a once a year thing with me, just because I'm too lazy to look up what movies they might be. I go see preview screenings of movies, and
cool.
I had gotten this one for. It says it's an upcoming horror movie made by like I forget what it said exactly, but I was like, oh my god, is this Wolfman? I'm so excited to see Wolfman because I love Lee Wanell. I really like his movies. Upgrade's great.
Upgrade
I like
is
Invisible
good.
Man. And so I'm like, oh man, it's gonna suck if I go to this preview screening and it's not the Wolfman because I have to like wait and shit for it.
Mhm.
And first off, they really messed with my ego because they put me in the old person line. And I'm like, because they're asking everybody, oh, how old are you? How many people are in your party? I'm like, oh, 31. So it's like, obviously, I'm one of the young kids, right?
Yeah.
No, I got put with the 50-year-olds. But it's like, Jesus Christ, am I old?
Yes.
And so it just got to the point where I was waiting so long and the movie was going to start in like 10 minutes. I was like, hey, can you just tell me what movie it is? Because if it's not what I think, I'm just going to leave. And they're like, oh, no, we can't tell you. So I'm basically just like, okay, this like has to be the Wolfman or it has to be like something like cool that I didn't think about. Or else like I'm going to be like really upset. And to my happiness, it was in fact the Wolfman.
Oh, good.
And I really enjoyed it. The audience loved it. I like had a great time. And for the last 2 months, I've been, man, I can't wait for this movie to come out. Everyone's gonna really enjoy it as much as I did. And it's probably gonna be like this big hit. It's in January. January has a bad reputation, but sometimes January movies can like really clean up. So it's like,
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens. And then the premiere came, or the like. And everyone was like, man, this movie sucks. I'm like, oh. I really liked it. Sorry, one more cool thing. At the screening, I saw Lee Wanell.
Oh.
And I don't think he was supposed to be out there. And I was very much like, oh, maybe it's not him. And I'm like, getting him. Because obviously the last time I saw Lee Wanell was in like Insidious 3, so it's like, oh, maybe he's like older and I didn't like, maybe I didn't recognize him, but someone else went up to him and I'm like, okay, cool, that's him. I'm gonna go right after. But the moment that guy left and took a picture of him, they immediately ushered him away. So it's like, oh. But that must have been cool for him because, like I said, the audience was like really into it. So I'm sure he was like, man, it's great. So I don't know if like I saw a cut, like a different cut than people are seeing that like kind of like
well, you said you're a big fan of him and you went in kind of expecting what it would be.
Yeah,
you might be like, this might have been targeted for you and maybe that's why you were super into it.
I didn't rewatch it, so maybe I rewatch it, I'm like, oh, it's okay. But
actually, yeah, if you rewatch it, let me know what they changed.
Okay.
Yeah, let me know if there's any big changes.
I'm gonna bring up one thing and I'm gonna see if you guys can maybe explain. There was a part when they're in the barn. And from the way it was shot, it looked like he just teleported in the barn. Did they show how he got in the barn?
Oh yeah, he was digging.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that was okay. I don't think that was finished then.
Okay, yeah, he dug, and even though he's grunting and making noises, as soon as he got done digging, he became super quiet.
Yeah.
Okay,
it was definitely done in a wow, he's already in the barn kind of way, but you see him digging for a couple seconds earlier.
It's kind of like that in there too. I don't think they had the shot of him digging because it literally looked like, oh, he could just teleport. That's a werewolf power.
No, they show him digging. It reminded me of the Lost World where the raptors are digging underneath the door.
So yeah, I might need to rewatch it. I really enjoyed it. Like a lot of the things you guys are praising, like how he's kind of like he's trying to like be this good dad, but it's almost as if like this werewolf disease stops his character development, and now he's turning into like this monster. I thought it was a really good way to like kind of do the tragedy thing. And like I enjoyed like I really like the design. I really like how it's like a Native American like type of like sickness. It kind of reminds me of Wendigos a little bit.
Yeah. I actually don't mind maybe not like him because he's not like fully changed yet, but the dad I thought looked awesome.
Yeah, I think the makeup's really good. And then I've been getting to really like Christopher Abbott, who plays the lead. He's like in Poor Things. Funnily enough, I actually liked him in Craven.
Oh my God, was he the foreigner in Craven?
He's the foreigner.
That's how bad Craven is. I forgot there was a whole character.
He's like one of the better parts of Craven, which isn't saying much because at least I don't know. Maybe it's like it's just.
According to Monica, there's only one good part of Craven, and that's what's his face's abs.
Yeah. So like I like him as an actor.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. I can't believe within 2 months he played one of the most forgettable, bland performances I've ever seen. And then like this really compelling character that I really liked, and I didn't recognize. It's because he was wearing sunglasses in Craven most of the movie. It's a Superman effect. He took those sunglasses off, and I went, "Who's this new actor?"
So like I need to check out more of his movies. Apparently, he's in a movie called Possessor that's Brandon Cronenberg, and he's like,
oh, I wanted to check that out.
He's apparently really good at it. And then there's a movie he's in of Margaret Qualley.
Qualley, yeah.
Okay, sorry, that's my Californian accent. I can't pronounce a normal last name. There's a movie where like she plays like a dominatrix or something, and he's like his sub, and it's like that sounds interesting.
Whoa,
Check
really?
that out.
Yeah. What movie is
Find the
that?
name of that movie, please.
Yeah.
I'll look it up. right now.
Also, I'll be in California next week. I don't know where to do a meetup. I'll let you know.
All right, cool. I'll probably be the only guy that shows up, and it'll just be me like complaining about like, hey, does Vito have to be here?
You know, we always have at least one person who shows up. People are like, Tony, what'll happen if no one shows up? I'm like, that'll be fucking hilarious. I win
But
either
no one
way.
would know. You just make up someone.
No, I would just
Be like
take a
Tony, be
picture-
like, yeah,
take a
yeah, with a
picture of
random fucking person walking by.
I would make comedy out of it. I would definitely
I'm
make comedy
sure
out
you
of it.
would.
The movie's called Sanctuary. with him and Margaret
Sanctuary.
Qualley.
Okay, Sanctuary documentary. Okay.
I do have one more thing, and it's a callback to what you were saying about them not playing the theme and stuff in adaptations.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of the Kamen Rider franchise, and they did Shin Kamen Rider. It was like
Yeah.
the next thing of like, you know, Shin Godzilla, Shin Ultraman.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, man, I just want them to play the theme song. This is a very iconic theme song that even today in Kamen Rider shows they will reference the song.
Yeah.
And literally the opening is just the Kamen Rider riding his motorcycle as the song plays. So there's a shot there's a scene at the end of the movie where he's just driving the motorcycle through like the country, just like the opening. I'm like, okay, the theme song's gonna play. And then it plays some other song. And then the movie ends, and in the credits they play the theme song. And it's like, no, you gotta switch that shit. You can't do that.
That's so
That's
stupid.
Because he used the Godzilla theme all throughout Shin Godzilla. So
Yeah,
maybe he knew
and
that, yeah.
Ultraman they just don't, which I guess like if
Mm.
I either use it at like a good spot or don't use it at all. I feel like.
Yeah.
Well, just do the thing where you have a character's phone ring and the ringtone is the theme
Yeah.
song.
They used to do
That's
that
the
in like
classic
old,
trick.
like superhero, like Iron Man has that. There's
Yeah.
a couple movies that have that.
I actually like that. It's like make it cute or like
Yeah.
put it in where it's trying to reference the opening or something like that. I actually lied. Shin Ultraman, they do play the opening, but not of Ultraman. They
Yeah.
do it from the first Ultraman show. That's like
Ultra Q.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
they
call
play
you
the
out on
Ultra
that,
Q
but I was
theme.
gonna let it slide.
Thank you, Gil. For
Like,
not
this guy doesn't know what the hell
calling
he's talking about.
Yeah, they play the Ultra Q theme, which made me really happy. And then I don't think they play the Ultraman theme.
I still need to see the other Shin movies. I'm not like I've watched a little bit of Ultraman. I want to get more into it. I have the DVD set. Joe gave me it. But yes, thank you, Lucha Steve, for stopping by.
All right, bye guys.
Goodbye.
See you, Lucha
Hopefully I
Steve.
see you next week. I'll let you know when and where.
All right, sounds cool.